In 1823, 25 students of the University of Oxford established the United Debating Society. The subjects to be discussed according to their proposed rules were the historical previous to the present century and the philosophical exclusive of religion. The subject of the first debate was the question whether the revolution under Cromwell was to be attributed to the tyrannical conduct of Charles or to the democratic spirit of the time. In a few years, the United Debating Society died of a deep decline, as recorded by the Oxford Herald. On 5th December 1825, the Oxford Union Society was established. This new body purchased from itself the books and benches of the defunct United Debating Society. To emphasise its continuity with the old society, it stamped the old society's date of foundation, 1823, on its furniture. Thus the history of the present Oxford Union Society dates from then. For 20 years the Union happily conducted its business round the central fireplace in Woodward's Hall, which was also the library. By the 1870s, both the attendance at the debates and the size of the library had enormously increased, and the Union was bursting at the seams. A new hall had to be built for the debates, and the library was to take over the whole of Woodward's building. The new debating hall, designed by Waterhouse, was in use from 1879, and is still at the heart of Union life today. The Oxford Union has been in existence for 183 years. It is probably the oldest non-parliamentary debating forum in the English-speaking world. In its early days, it was an aristocratic club. The members were mainly titled, the subscription was high at 2 guineas, and undesirable candidates were excluded by black ball. The principal office bearers at the Oxford Union are, in descending order, the President, the Librarian, the Treasurer and the Secretary. They are elected together with the Standing Committee at the end of each of the 3 terms in the University's academic year. As soon as the society was recognised, would-be politicians began to swell the ranks. Over the years, the Oxford Union began to acquire a reputation as a nursery of future politicians, judges, lawyers, academics, diplomats, and even clergymen. It is often referred to as the playground of power. Among its office bearers have been 7 Prime Ministers of the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth, 5 of whom were Presidents of the Union, and 2, Bandaranaike and Macmillan, who held lower offices in the years noted against their names: Gladstone 1830, Asquith 1873, Salisbury 1885, Macmillan 1914, Bandaranaike 1923, Heath 1938, and Benazir Bhutto 1977. The Union has had ministers in most 20th century United Kingdom cabinets, including Lord Curzon, Lord Birkenhead, Viscount Simon, Viscount Monckton, Lord Gardiner, Lord Milner, Viscount Helsham, John Boyd Carpenter, Anthony Crossland, Lord Stewart, Tony Benn, Sir Edward Boyle, Lord Jenkins, Lord Heseltine, Lord Brooke, Lord Newton, and many others. It has also produced a number of Lord Chancellors, Law Lords, and Judges, well-known literary names: Hilaire Belloc, John Buchan, A.P. Herbert, Beverley Nichols, Evelyn Waugh, Philip Toynbee, Kenneth Tynan, and Dennis Potter, and among the clergy, Archbishop Temple, Archbishop Lang, Bishop Knox, and Bishop Swain. The first man of colour to hold office in the Oxford Union was S.W.R.D. Bandaranaike, who became Secretary and Treasurer in 1923–24, and the Prime Minister of Ceylon in 1956. The first coloured president was D.F. Karaka from India, 1933, later a well-known journalist. Thereafter, presidents from Asia or of Asian descent included Bahadur Singh, 1940, Raghavan Iyer, 1953, Lalit Atulapmudali, 1957, later Minister of Trade of Sri Lanka, Lakshman Kadirgamar, 1958, later Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka, Tariq Ali, 1964, Montek Singh, 1966, Pradeep Mitra, 1972, Benazir Bhutto, 1977, later Prime Minister of Pakistan, Hilali Nuruddin from Sri Lanka, 1983. In its history of 183 years, 13 former office bearers of the Union have been honoured by their bust or portraits being placed in the building of the Oxford Union. They include the 7 Prime Ministers, 5 others who held important political offices in the United Kingdom: Curzon, Birkenhead, Simon, Heseltine and Jenkins, and the poet Bullock. The 14th office bearer to be so honoured by the trustees and the President of the Oxford Union is Lakshman Kadirgamar, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Sri Lanka, whose portrait was unveiled before a distinguished gathering on 18 March 2005 by the Chancellor of the University of Oxford, Lord Patton of Barnes. The Honourable Lakshman Kadirgamar came to Balliol College at the University of Oxford as a postgraduate student in 1956, wrote a thesis on Roman Dutch law, played cricket for the college and became President of the Union in 1959. He practised for many years at the Sri Lanka Bar and before the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in London. Appointments: President's Council 1991, Member of Parliament since 1994, Honourable Master of the Inner Temple 1995, Minister of Foreign Affairs 1994 to 2000, 2000 to 2001 and 2004 for the third time, Chairman Council of Ministers of the South Asian Association for Regional Cooperation, the SAARC, the 7 States of South Asia 1998 to 2000, Chairman of the Indian Ocean Rim Association for Regional Cooperation, IORARC, 18 states on the rim of the Indian Ocean, 2004 to 2005, member of the International Policy Advisory Commission of the World Intellectual Property Organization since 1999, Honourable Fellow of Balliol, 2004. He has delivered a number of memorial orations and speeches at universities and other institutions in over 30 countries, including 7 addresses to the United Nations General Assembly.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure this evening to speak a few words before the Chancellor of the University and welcome you all to the Oxford Union during my term of office as President. The Union's ties with Sri Lanka are deep. Members heard from Her Excellency the Sri Lankan President in 2001. Her father was himself a Union officer hailing from my own college, Christchurch. In his time here, he worked with one future British Prime Minister, debated against another, and was described by the student media as the most eloquent speaker in the Union. Following his tragic assassination, it was left to the then Union President, Lakshman Kadirgamar, to reveal the plaque commemorating his achievements while in Oxford. It is my sincerest hope that links such as these will continue long into the future, and that the Union will continue to produce such accomplished alumni. Welcome to you all once again. Minister, we're delighted to have you here.
I would just like, Minister, to pay a particular tribute to you and to all you've done for Sri Lanka, for South Asia and for international relations. Met you on a number of occasions and was able to discuss with you the efforts to start and sustain a peace movement in Sri Lanka with some very difficult opponents of the rule of law. And I've much admired what you've done and hope that resuming your office, you're able again to ensure that peace has a better chance in an island which is perhaps as beautiful as anywhere on our planet, with people as talented as any on our planet. So it's a pleasure to be asked to unveil this portrait. Thank you very much indeed for being with us. Excellent.
Lakshman launched his union career in the committee debate in Trinity 1957, when he made, as the Oxford magazine recorded, I quote, a very moving and memorable speech on neutralism. Lakshman's union career went from strength to strength. In the Michaelmas term, 1957, he made and I am using always contemporary quotations, an excellent speech in which some complicated reasoning was made perfectly clear to an attentive audience, and that was on the subject of Ghanaian independence. A year later, as Lakshman moved towards election as president, he made, I quote, the best speech of the evening. Lakshman's term as president was marked by a series of important debates: expulsion of South Africa from the Commonwealth, and an expression of alarm at recent events in France. And that alarm was expressed by Pierre Mendès France, a former French Prime Minister. That was a debate in which over 700 members of the society voted, and in which, together with Peter Jay, who's currently the chairman of the Union Charitable Trust, and I had the privilege of speaking. Lakshman's career in Sri Lanka and on the world stage has been not only that of a distinguished lawyer and a successful politician. More importantly, he has been and is a statesman to whom Sri Lanka and the Commonwealth owe a debt of gratitude. We are proud now to have this splendid portrait of him in the Union. Thank you.
One aspect of Lakshman's career that you may not have heard is that as a young lawyer in Sri Lanka, he headed the first ever amnesty mission to look at a situation in a country in trouble, which was the situation of Buddhists in South Vietnam in '64. And I purloined or obtained from him a copy of his report, and very good and very useful it was. And I only have to add to that what I've been asked to say. The Master and Fellows at Balliol College are absolutely delighted to be associated with this event, proud of their connection with Lakshman Kadirgamar, who is an honorary fellow of the college. We join warmly in the thanks to Lakshman Kadirgamar for all that he has done, his continued association with Oxford, and congratulations on this portrait. Thank you.
Mr. President, the Union is your kingdom. You are the master of this house. You are the absolute ruler of this domain. And all who enter these premises defer to you. Be they kings, presidents, prime ministers, chancellors. But all this for one term. It is intense, it is glorious, you will never forget it. Enjoy it while it lasts. Because life for you will never be the same again after being president of the Union as it was before. The presidency does something to all of us. If you ask Jeremy, and you ask yourself this question 10 years from now, what does it do for you? I don't think you will get an answer which is universally applicable. I will tell you in a moment. What I do want to say is this: I'm very greatly honored by the fact that Chris Patton is here. When I last met him, he was just Chris Patton, the Right Honourable Chris Patton, and he was my colleague because he was the Commissioner of External Relations of the European Union when I was Foreign Minister. Now, of course, he is Lord Patton and the Chancellor of the University. What I do want to say to him and to all of you about him is that I hope very much that Chris Patton is not being treated like an old war horse put out for graze. He may go to the House of Lords, yes, but he has a lot of life actually. He has a lot more to do. He has immense experience of the world, wide variety, Governor of Hong Kong, Chairman of the Conservative Party, and Commissioner of External Relations of the United Nations at the European Union. He's going to write books. I do hope he will write books, but as I said to him before, please do more than write books. Tell me, my old friend, we first met about 50 years ago. even in those days, when we were all callow youth, Jeremy cut a figure. Even in those days, he had the air of a statesman. He didn't go into politics. Perhaps he was a very wise man not to do that. But he had this sort of air about him. And we all said, well, Jeremy is going very far indeed. Well, he could be Lord Chancellor. He'll be a successful advocate, no doubt. But it was fairly clear even then that politics was not going to be his choice. I'd like to make a special reference to the birth of the Union. You spared me mercifully any attention to any of these details. But Lindsay, you've done that for me. And I thank you very much indeed. And your staff. And the steward of the Union. Now I would like to mention our new High Commissioner in the United Kingdom, Mrs. Seniviratne. She is a career foreign service officer who's done 20 years in the service. And the President and I felt absolutely no doubt whatever that she was the most suitable person to be the High Commissioner in this great country. It is a hugely important appointment. And I thank you, Lindsay, again, and the High Commissioner for working so efficiently together, and you with your own staff to bring about these arrangements of today. Allow me, Mr. President, to make a special reference to my Sri Lankan compatriots who are here in some numbers. They have come some distance for this occasion, and I'm very honored by their presence, and I wish to send them a special greeting. They have sent me timely warning that they expect me not merely to recite a whole list of thank yous, but also to make a speech. But Mr. President, you are not seated any longer in that marvelous chair. You don't have that glorious electric bell in your hands. And on this occasion, I think you might well say to an old man, well, speak on. And, Mr. President, every one of us presidents of the Union has careers in that short space of one term which have ups and downs, as Jeremy has said. I had some very difficult things to do. One of my guests was a lady called Nancy Spain, and she came to the Union to debate the motion that the House deplores the decline of the English middle classes. Obviously, she planned it as a publicity stunt because she had smuggled a troupe of musicians into the gallery. And halfway through her speech, we all heard this strumming of guitars from the gallery. And she took to the aisle of the house and started dancing. And one undergraduate joined her. Everybody was very upset, and I had to use that bell. I kept my finger on the bell like when someone felt like an age in order to restore order. Order was restored, but matter didn't end there. There was a demand that she be banned for life from entering the Union. And that was done. The second experience was, I'm very, very sorry to say, Randolph Churchill. He was my guest one debating night to debate a motion on South Africa. And when he arrived at the Oxford station, he was obviously not in good shape. He was met by my welcoming party and brought to the Union, and we dined here. And about 10 minutes into the dinner, the steward whispered to me, he said, "Sir, I can't serve any more wine to Randolph Churchill." I said, "Yes, I've noticed that, steward, and do what you think is the right thing to do." Well, after dinner, we all trooped into the hall, the presidential procession, which you're familiar with. The debate began, and when it was Randolph Churchill's time to speak, he got up, he staggered to the dispatch box, and he said, "Mr. President," and he collapsed. The House was incensed. And, well, order was restored. It was the end of the debate. That was right. The next Thursday, there was a motion moved that severe action should be taken against Randolph Churchill. My standing committee said there's absolutely no option. Randolph Churchill will have to be banned from entering the Union for life. And this awesome decision fell on me. I took it. And there it was. I can tell you that certainly the account that I have heard of the famous King and Country debate came to mind. That was the famous debate when the Oxford Union in 1933, with Nazi Germany very much on the move, full of menace, the Union debated the subject that this House will not fight for king and country. And that motion was carried. He created a stir. And Winston Churchill, in his memoirs, actually says this. He says he was horrified that the youth of England would do a thing like this. I think he overreacted. Because we all know that when war broke out, many of those very same young people who voted against the motion that night went to the war and didn't come back. The third was what Jeremy mentioned, the Vendée France debate. Well, General de Gaulle had come back to office, established the Fifth Republic. The fourth was in bad shape. You all remember that France was a very difficult country to govern for a long time. The difficult problem for France that you had a general, now a popular elected president. And that combination for a democracy is very difficult to handle. The textbooks don't quite deal with that. So I decided, as Jeremy said, that there should be a debate on the position in France. I went to Paris and knocked on Mendes France's door early one morning, completely unannounced. Lo and behold, the door opened and the great man himself came out in pajamas. But he was very gracious and he let me in and he spoke English and said, well, what can I do for you? Who are you? And I said, I'm the president of the Oxford Union. Didn't mean a thing to me. So I had to begin to persuade. I said, Monsieur le Président, there is a big debate here. This is the University of Oxford. Will you kindly come and debate this subject? And he said, well, I'm not very sure about all that, but give me time to reflect. In 2 days' time, he telephoned me and said, yes, I will come, but can I make an oration? I said, Prime Minister, that's one thing that is not allowed in the Oxford in those days. I don't know what the situation now is. Everybody, Prime Ministers, Presidents, if you come here, you have to descend into the arena and debate. I was on the verge of losing my prize catch for the term, but I said, no, Monsieur Mendes France, please come and debate. So he said, well, all right. But can you do this for me? Don't put up a Frenchman against me. And I said, of course, it's very reasonable. So we had a quick negotiation on the phone. It was agreed, no Frenchman. And then he went on and said, can you kindly leave out British politicians also? And I said, yes, a little more difficult, but I was already under great pressure. That was settled. Now I had to find 3 speakers. So what do? I turned to my friend Jeremy. Jeremy, ever reliable, willingly said, yes, of course, I'll help you out. I turned to Keith Kyle, who was on The Economist at that time. He was a former librarian. Now that settled, I had to find somebody for the undergraduate speech. This was a huge problem because all the union heavyweights were after me for that paper speech. Because that was a speech, if it went well, would certainly have assured the election to the office, for whatever office that person stood. I ducked it for a long time. And about 3 days before the debate, there was a reception at Oxford, swirling crowd around me, and suddenly a young man appeared. And he was introduced as Peter J. It didn't mean anything to me. I did something which I don't think I'll ever have the audacity to do again. I said to him, Mr. J, would you care to make the paper speech in the Vendée France debate in 3 days' time? And he said, Mr. President, you must be joking, because I've never spoken in the union. I said, so much the better. And Peter J made a very fine speech, and he became President of the Union a year or 2 later. Finally, among my memories was the debate that Prime Minister S.W.R. Bandhavanaike could not attend. He was a very distinguished office bearer, Secretary and Treasurer in 1923, way back. And he made very powerful speeches. The books on Oxford refer to all those speeches, they're well remembered. But after he went down, he didn't set foot in Oxford again. He never came back. Suddenly, in early September 1959, a letter came from him saying, I want to speak next Thursday. That was October the 2nd or the first day of the term, I think. Now that debate had already been allotted to Sean Lemass by Mr. Violin on the famous Irish question, which is debated every year. Well now, the young American president at the time didn't know what on earth to do. I was consulted. I said, well, the best thing is phone Sean Lemass and ask him what to do. Predictably, Sean Lemass said, well, the Prime Minister of Sri Lanka Ceylon is coming from thousands of miles away. I'm just next door. I will stand down, give him the debate. Right. The subject. Prime Minister Bandaranaike said the subject should be that democracy is unsuitable for developing nations. Now, he did not indicate on which side he was going to speak. And the poor president, in spite of numerous and frantic inquiries from Colombo, was left with no answer. So a unique order paper was printed. That democracy is unsuitable for developing nations, 2 speakers for, 2 speakers against, and at the bottom, across the paper, Mr. S.W.R.B. Bandaranaike, treasurer from Christchurch, will speak. Well, everything was set for the great debate. It was going to be a great occasion. It was coming back after 30 years and so on. Well, on that fateful Saturday, before the debate, he was felled by the bullet of an assassin. Now, the Union had a great tradition, Mr. President, you will be haunted by this, as all of us were, that if you happen to be in residence after you finish your term, the incumbent president is entitled to phone you up, wherever you are, and with 5 minutes notice, ask you to come and make a speech on anything that happens to be on the order paper that evening, because some guest hasn't arrived on the 6 o'clock Paddington train. And this has happened to all of us. It will happen to you if you stay in Oxford too long. In my case, I was given 3 days notice. That's all right. And I made a speech looking back on it now and reading some of the reviews which I've seen, which probably, I think, because of the circumstances, the haunting tragedy, and I had been somewhat critical of Mr. Bandaranaike in the previous year about certain things he had done, and I think perhaps that was the best speech I've ever made in my life. I chose to oppose the motion, and I was certain that Prime Minister Bandaranaike would have done the same. I would like to recall his memory this evening. It is he who made Sri Lanka aware of the Oxford Union. Sri Lanka has a lot of admirers and followers of the Oxford Union in our little country, and all that comes from S.W.R.B. whose daughter today is the president of the country, twice elected president, and she spoke at the Union a year or 2. I'd also like to remember another colleague, Lalit Atulak Mudali, who was president 1 year ahead of me. He went into politics very young, and he built for himself a very fine career indeed. And as he was at the prime of his political career, he was felled by the bullet of an assassin. Mr. President, the Union has done me a very great honor. I am deeply conscious of that and deeply appreciative of that. I would like, if I may, to assume that I can share that honor with the people of Sri Lanka, because I am very much a product of Sri Lanka. I had my schooling there, my first university was there, I went to the law college, and by the time I came to Oxford as a postgraduate student, well, I was a reasonably mature person. Oxford, I think, was the icing on the cake, but the cake was baked at home. We presidents have to remember at all times that we have been elected by a presidency which is probably the most intelligent, best educated, most discriminating and critical constituency in the entire democratic English-speaking world. And that is something, quite something. You have to remember that. You will be measured against that yardstick. There is no escape from that. The presidents of the Union will follow you like a shadow. You can't change it. But be proud of it. You ask any president of the Union and he will say, yes, those moments will never never return. They can't. I thank you, Mr. President. I thank the trustees very warmly for the honor you have done to me. On behalf of my wife, I would like to thank all of you. My wife has shared with me all the rigors of political life in a difficult part of the world. More importantly, she has loyally and courageously shared with me the grave dangers of political life in our part of the world. And I thank her very much indeed. Thank you.
For this important event, which marked a milestone in Kadirgamar's career, a number of felicitation messages were received from political leaders world over and other illustrious personalities. These include, from Sri Lanka, President Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga, Speaker W.J.M. Lokubandara, and Chief Justice Sarat Silva, General Pervez Musharraf, President of Pakistan, Manmohan Singh, Prime Minister of India, S. Jayakumar, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Law, Singapore, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Alexander Downer, Australia, Morshed Khan, Bangladesh, Natwar Singh, India, Honourable Dato Seri Syed Hamid Albar, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Malaysia, Ramesh Nath Pandey, Nepal, Khurshid Kasuri, Pakistan, Mani Shankar Iyer, Minister of Petroleum and Natural Gas of India, Sir Alan Hazelhurst, Deputy Speaker, House of Commons, UK, Jaswant Singh, Opposition Leader, Rajya Sabha, Yashwant Sinha, Rajya Sabha and the former External Affairs Minister of India, Lord Bingham of Cornhill, Senior Law Lord, Lord Naseby, Co-Chair of the All-Party Sri Lanka Group, House of Commons, Lord Peter Brooke of Sutton Mandeville, former Chairman, Conservative Party, Secretary of State for Northern Ireland and former President of the Union, Chenkyab Dorji, Secretary General, SAARC, Kamil Idris, Director General, World Intellectual Property Organisation, the Right Honourable Lord Justice Ricks, Treasurer of the Inner Temple, Chow Hik Tin, Judge of the Appeal Court, Singapore, Andrew Graham, Master of Balliol College, Oxford, Peter J, former Ambassador of the UK to the US and former President of the Union, and Walter Anderson, Associate Director, School of Advanced International Studies, Johns Hopkins University, Washington. The Union did with generations of articulate young people, even if they are sometimes rather eccentrically retracted. Time to time, debates have even made an impact on the outside world. It is said that brilliant dawns constitute the Oxford Union's claim to fame. Again and again in its history, the young speakers who caught the President's eye have gone on to catch the eye of the country, occasionally even the eye of the world. As Prime Minister Harold Macmillan once said, the Oxford Union is unique in that it has provided an unrivalled training ground for debates in the parliamentary style, which no other debating society in any democratic country can equal.